I would like to thank all of you for attending this event and for the organisers to give me a chance to say a few words about my personal view of the matter and also about the BBC. Like many of you, I have not actually seen the programme Our Mother, Our Father. However, I have actually heard information from very reliable sources such as the Polish embassies in Washington and Germany, and from academics and others, confirming what the programme actually contains. This TV documentary has caused many people, especially Poles, concerns about how it shows the actual portrayal of events in World War II. From the Polish position, obviously, the main concern about this drama is the way that the Polish Home Army is portrayed. They inform me that the Poles are portrayed as anti-Semites, the AK are poorly organised and an ineffectual fighting force with the Germans. Some present may feel that it would have been better to let the BBC show the programme. Freedom of speech, the fact that some elements may be true, and that we cannot be sure of the issues as we have not seen them. Therefore, we should wait and see if these issues do exist. The Polish Media Issue Group, which I am one of the 5 founders of, normally works on the principle of dealing with issues that we can verify. It is in fact part of the reason for the existence of the group. Individually, we had been campaigning on behalf of Poles and Poland and had complained about a radio station. However, when we approached Ofcom, they turned us down as we lacked the proof, and hence the founding principle of the group was to always verify an issue before we complained. So you may ask yourself why a group which has existed for over 8 years has in that time fought over 1,500 media issues using the principle of verified issues only has chosen to ignore it in this case. This action could result in ridicule for the PMI for its choice to join the protest without such proof. The problem is the BBC has shown themselves regularly willing to ignore complaints by Poles and even from senior people in the Polish government. Just last week, the British government voted not to get involved in the war in Syria. In an era when almost every person by their mobile phone can record the events, and with satellites able to see people's faces from space, it's amazing that we cannot actually know what happened there. Therefore, this element of doubt is part of the BBC's argument against our complaints. How do we prove that what we are saying is actually historically correct? Imagine a world where Hitler invented gravity. Goebbels was the Secretary of Defence for Britain at the start of the Second World War. William Shakespeare is the chairman of the BBC. The Battle of Britain took place on land. Britain and Germany were allies in World War I, and Jesus spoke English. This may sound like madness to many of you present, but actually between 10 and 30% of teenagers here in the United Kingdom believe what I have just said to be true. Further, surveys support that the adults in the UK have a similar poor level of knowledge. Actually, less than 50% of adults thought Richard the Lionheart was a real king of England, but 2/3 thought King Arthur, a fictional character, was a king of England. The BBC survey themselves shows this inaccuracy. They showed that 45% of adults had never heard of Auschwitz. Similar surveys in Germany and the United States support where this programme is being shown a similar lack of knowledge. Without this context, the programme cannot be shown. Even with this low level of knowledge, particularly in the British youth, the BBC argues its presentation of German-occupied Poland is correct. They continue to claim that the audience understands, but clearly surveys show them wrong. Furthermore, as I've previously stated, getting an apology from them is almost impossible, as they're a power unto themselves. And even then, if they do apologise, it is low-key compared to showing an actual TV drama. It is actually disturbing that the research carried out by the Polish Media Issue Group shows that the BBC does on time single out Poles and Poland. It defends the usage of the Polish camp as it can be legitimately used on time. Polish death camp can be used legitimately, according to the BBC, on times. How? I just don't know. Strangely, having said that, to the best of my knowledge, the BBC has never called the German camps in Guernsey as British. Another more disturbing aspect of the BBC's coverage is moving camps from outside Poland into Poland. They have done this for camps in both the Czech Republic and Germany. The BBC claim that Dachau opened in Poland in 1933. Dachau is in Germany, has always been in Germany, and Poland had nothing to do with the camp in 1933, though by the end of the war, the largest number of people to suffer in Dachau were Polish citizens. Our booklet, which we have distributed out to some of you today, shows the bias. They claim that there is no need to put in historical context, and therefore only in 20% of their articles on their website do they say that Poland was occupied. When it comes to France and the Channel Islands, it's 94 and 96% of articles. So they, for some strange reason, feel they have to teach the history of France and the Channel Islands, part of these British Isles, to people, but not to show it. Another disturbing aspect is the way the word Nazi is used during most of the articles about Poland. Again, if a crime happens in Guernsey, it was always carried out by a German. They clearly label it for their own, but they do not do it for Poles and Poland. It is doubtful that the BBC will listen to the second largest ethnic group here in the UK, and I suspect the show will be shown. This is obviously upsetting to those who suffered, and especially those who fought against the Germans. I can only hope perhaps one day they will show documentaries or ideally Polish dramas to perhaps counterbalance this. The PMI was started by 5 individuals, and we have achieved over 1,000 media corrections in the last 8 years. The organisers here have got unprecedented support for the complaint to the BBC. I would like to thank the AK, because I am actually half British, as you can tell, and the AK aided Britain throughout the war. They were the ones sending intelligence. Over half the intelligence out of all of occupied Europe came from Poland. Vital information to stop London being bombed into the ground by the vengeance weapons, the V1 and the V2, came from Poland. Without the AK, more and more people would have died, and their contribution should not be smeared by this drama. Hopefully, this event will set up a bar for future cooperation between Polish groups here in the United Kingdom. Thank you for your time and support in this matter.